Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Jayme's Journal. I'm Jayme, and this is my brand new podcast. So this podcast is going to be covering a few things, actually. It's going to chronicle my journey as a brand new author. And also, I was looking recently for some podcasts that do book reviews on urban fantasy, and I couldn't find anything anywhere that specifically looked at, just reviews on that genre. And because that's my genre, I kind of want to hear reviews about what I write in. So I'll actually be doing reviews too. So my goal is to produce probably 2 episodes a week, one in which I specifically focus on what's going on in my journey to becoming published, and the other episode where I specifically focus on a review for whatever urban fantasy title I'm reading at the moment, because I read a lot, which is why I actually started writing, because I read so much that I loved the genre, and I said, I think I could write something about this. I have an idea and I'm going to go for it. So that brings me to my topic for today, my journey. So I started writing seriously probably last November 2019 for NaNoWriMo. That's National Novel Writing Month. And there's this website, if you don't know, where you can go in and set a goal and set word count goals and just specifically focus on writing your novel. So I decided that's what I was going to do. I did it, and I actually finished a novel in the month of November last year, which was pretty exciting for me. I had no idea that I actually had that in me, but I did. Then I decided, okay, I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with this, and started, sharing that content with friends and family, and got some mixed reviews. So I said, okay, the plot's not strong. It's not quite there yet. So I need to figure out what I need to do differently. So I just finished college, and I did a lot of academic writing. And one day as I'm driving home, I realized that I needed an outline. So far, I had just kind of been flying by the seat of my pants. And I said, what if writing a book is as easy for me as writing an academic paper? Because if I can outline something and kind of lay it out for you in the first paragraph, I'm going to be talking about this and this and this and then this, then I can fill in the blanks. So I went home and I wrote an outline for my book, and I completely rewrote my novel. And it took me another month, but it was a quick process, and it flowed so much easier, and it was more developed, and the storyline was so much better. So I decided I am not a pantser. I definitely need a plot. So I need an outline. I need to have some sort of map to know exactly where I'm going. So I finished that in December. And then I decided that I needed to start kind of putting my work out there for other people to see, not just friends and family, because while they're great, they usually are very nice and kind, and they don't want to burst your bubble. So they really tell you a lot of what you want to hear and not as much of what you need to hear. So I decided I was going to join some Facebook groups. I just looked in their little search and signed up for anything that had to do with beta reading or critique partnering, and put in synopsises so that people could read my work and give me some honest feedback, people that I didn't know. And so I sent my work out to probably 15 different people in the beginning and got a lot of really good feedback and really positive. So it really was encouraging me to say, okay, these people that have no idea who I am, who have never read anything that I've written, actually enjoyed this. And yes, there are still some issues, but it can be worked out. So I'm going to continue doing this thing. So I did. And I joined another Facebook group that was called #PitMad. So I wasn't aware, but every so many months on Twitter, they have these pitch madness parties where you go onto Twitter and you write a pitch proposal for your novel. And there is a Facebook group, and it's not there all the time, but it pops up sporadically, where they teach you how to write a well-structured pitch specifically for Twitter. And during these events, which are one-day events that happen every 6 months, well, every 6 months depending on the genre, they have authors and agents and editors and publishers who specifically search out these hashtags and will offer you either representation or publishing contracts or editing services or numerous different things. So I said that could be worthwhile. I'm not ready to pitch my book yet, but this was March of 2020. So I wasn't quite ready to pitch, but I knew that this would be valuable information in the future. So I did that. It was a 5-day thing, and it was very, very valuable information for me, which was awesome. So yeah, I did that. And then in May, I attended the Storymakers Conference, which was fantastic because it was online. And if you can attend a Storymakers Conference, I totally encourage you to do that because, again, the information that you get there is so valuable. You have a ton of authors who are established, who are sharing their journey with you and sharing their kind of tried and true practices for how they get high word counts and how they really map out what their story is going to look like beforehand and making sure that your plot actually matches the character you have in mind and not the other way around. And you're not trying to force things to work that aren't going to work. So a lot of really, really valuable information in writing conferences. So if you can do that, I absolutely suggest it. It's worth the cost. So I finished the writers conference, and after that, I had another idea for a book. So I sat down and I said, okay, I'm going to do it not backwards this time. I'm going to outline it and get it ready and go. So I outlined it and I sat down and I wrote it. So from the end of May until July, it took me. So I finished the second book in July, and it just so happened that the day after I finished my first draft, they had another pitch party, which this one was called #SFF Pit, which is a science fiction, sci-fi fantasy pitch party. So it's specifically for that genre, which is what I write in because I write urban fantasy. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this thing. I know how to do this. I have the tools. I took the little seminar and I'm going to pitch this. And of course, I found out about it like 5 o'clock in the evening and it ends at 8. So people had been pitching their stuff all day long. But I said, it's okay. I'm just going to put it out there, see what happens. And you get 3 pitches per manuscript. And they have to be finished manuscripts. They have to be ready to go in case somebody requests them. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, definitely make sure you have a finished manuscript first. So I wrote my pitches and I put them out there, and I actually got interest from a few agents and a few publishers, which was overwhelming and crazy. I did not expect that, but I did. And so the next day I sat down and I wrote out my query letters, which are very intimidating, very, very intimidating, but they're manageable. And we'll talk query letters more later. But I wrote my query letters. I attached the number of pages that each one asked for because they're all different. They're going to ask you for different things. Some are going to want a query letter. Some are not. Some are going to want a summary. Some are not. Some want the first 5 pages or the first chapter. Some want 3 chapters. So you really have to make sure that you do some research and send them exactly what they're looking for. So I did that and actually got a few full manuscript requests from that, which was, again, surprising and overwhelming. And I thought, okay, this is crazy. So I'm going to send this. So I sent that out, and that was about a week after Pitch Madness. And then a week later, after I got my full manuscript request, I was actually sitting at my computer and I saw a notification pop up from one of the publishing companies that had requested my work. And I thought, oh no, my heart sank and I thought for sure, it's too soon. It's only been a week. But I opened it and I actually got an offer to sign a publishing contract with Fireside Publishing. So I signed a contract with Fireside Publishing probably 3 weeks after I finished my first draft of my second manuscript, which is insane. I mean, even right now as I'm saying it, insane. I can't tell you how crazy it is. And it's just been one thing after another of surprise for me, I think, just since the whole thing happened. But fantastic. And I'm so grateful that Fireside has taken a chance on me. And I can't wait to actually get to share my book with you, which will release next year, unless we keep going at this sort of breakneck speed we're going at. And then who knows, maybe sooner. I'm not sure. But in the meantime, I get to work on my book cover, which I was not even thinking about, surprisingly, as something that I would need to do. But really, really cool to be involved in that process. Really cool to see kind of how that works. And somebody else working in their craft is really, really cool too. So yeah, that's my journey so far. And this podcast will be half and half about chronicling this journey and, marketing stuff and obviously websites and social media and all of the above. So half of that and then half of reviewing books that I'm reading. So if you want to know more about any of the topics that I cover during these podcasts, always feel free to just shoot me a message. You can use my website, authorjaymephelps.com, or you can find me on Facebook at author Jayme Phelps or Twitter. Yeah, Twitter is at Jayme Phelps Author and on Instagram as well. So all of those different platforms, you can find me. You can message me. I will message you back. And I want to know more about what you want to hear about. So let me know. That's what, my next journey podcast will cover. And in the meantime, the next episode will be about Kim Harrison's American Demon that I just finished reading. I was so excited because Kim Harrison is one of my favorite authors. That series, the Hollow series, is one of my favorite series. And when the last book came out, I was so devastated. I thought for sure it was done. So when I saw this pop up in my, to be released titles on Amazon, I pre-ordered it because I couldn't wait to get it. And of course, I binge read it in 2 days and it was fantastic. I'm so excited to talk about it. So that'll be the next episode. And I'm really excited to see that the way she left things off, it looks like there might be more coming around the bend. So I look forward to that. Also, make sure that you sign up for my newsletter where you can get updates on my blog, because I have a blog on my website, and any new episodes. And again, you can find all of those at authorjaymephelps.com. Thanks for listening.